Okay, welcome everybody. So yesterday we heard news that could be very good news for Elon Musk and Tesla regarding the Delaware pay package lawsuit. So as this movement of big companies exiting Delaware started to accelerate, the new Delaware governor came out to say that he's wanting to get it right for Elon Musk and maybe resolve the lawsuit. He wants to lure back companies to incorporate there. We have Alexandra Merz, also known as Tesla Boomer Mama, here with us, and she's one of the main people that have been responsible for helping make this happen. So let me just share what happened here. There's this movement that started to happen where a list of companies that were planning or have made the move from Delaware to Texas or Nevada. We had Tesla, of course, SpaceX went to Texas. You had Dropbox, Neuralink, TripAdvisor, and a bunch of others moving to Nevada. People are going to start to write articles on it, why public companies are leaving Delaware for Nevada. Elon said pretty soon there won't be any companies left in Delaware. This was yesterday. And then the Delaware governor responded saying, it's really important we get it right for Elon Musk or whoever the litigants are in the Delaware courts. We're cognizant that there may be some things that need to change. We're going to work on them. This Matt Mayer, Delaware governor, just became governor about 2 weeks ago. This is him here. And Elon replied saying, this is encouraging. The new governor of Delaware wants what is best for his state. Alexandra, what's going on here?
Lots of things happening. This is crazy because usually in the legal and governmental world, things don't happen overnight. But this weekend, lots of things happen. So Friday late, we heard that Meta was considering moving out. And I always have to stress, there were lots of people who want to move out of Delaware, but you can't make it public too early. With this procedural chancellor, we could probably get to, why she's such a controversial person, but with her, she put in place the procedure. She and one of her vice chancellors put in place the procedure you have to follow if you want to leave. We followed that last year. Remember, we had that shareholder meeting where the second big question was whether we should move to Texas. This was all built up with a special committee and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it was documented. It was crazy. So all these other companies that may consider this have to go through these whole steps before they can openly say, you know what, we're considering. And so we had Meta on Friday. We had on Saturday Dropbox. And Dropbox, we actually learned it because it was in their proxy for a vote to the shareholders. Mm-hmm. So that's what we will see. We will actually see, in my view, two phenomena in the next couple of weeks and short months, which is either shareholders asking to their companies, Google, Amazon, you name them, whether they are considering. And so this would be one of the shareholder proposals that they have to address. And it's very complicated for a company to address that because they can't just say, oh, no, we don't care. They will have to say, well, okay, we'll have to study this, right? And that's then the headline again, that whoever, I'm just making up names now, Google, Amazon, whatever, are also considering it. And the second thing is that they have actually made up their mind and have gone through these steps, which take time, and have now a shareholder vote on it. So those are the two steps of things happening. And I predicted a couple of months ago that there will be an avalanche of these subjects, and we need to keep this subject really alive. It's happening much quicker than I'd hoped for. So Meta and Dropbox this weekend, that brought a lot of attention again to the whole topic of Delaware. Who is going to do it? What is Delaware going to do about it? And then I hear a lot of people saying, oh, but Delaware has 2 million companies, so many companies. They don't, a couple of them leaving is not bad. This is actually about two different things. One, new companies not incorporating anymore in Delaware, which is a huge loss for them because this is really always recurring income. Company incorporates, has to pay obviously the incorporation fees, and then come all the annual and franchise taxes that are then due there. So new companies not considering Delaware, we may not see that immediately in a drop of numbers, but it is for them an enormous loss. And the second one is obviously people actively wanting to move out, which is a reputation loss, which then triggers the first point again. So it's all coming together, and much quicker than I thought. And then what happened is Business Insider, of all, kudos to them, had an interview with the new governor, Matt Mayer, who has been now governor for 2 weeks. Before that, since 2017, it was John Carney. He resigned 2 weeks earlier than Matt Mayer took place because he became mayor of Wilmington since then. And so there was an intermediary lady in place for 2 weeks. But anyway, the two main characters are John Carney, 2017 to now, and now Matt Mayer. And John Carney is the one who had appointed Chancellor McCormick, our judge, to the Chancery Court, initially in 2018 as a vice chancellor. There's always a chancellor and 7 vice chancellors, and then since 2021 as the chancellor. And so he was in charge of that. Now this has changed. Now we have a new governor, Matt Mayer, and in this interview, which was not just specifically to this point, but which was obviously very much to the point. I sent you the link to the article, and I also posted it on my X at the moment, with some screenshots, because some people don't have a Business Insider account, so they can read it there. But it is clear that he wanted to go there. If you read the sequence of questions, he was not ashamed to go there. And what I was really particularly happy about it is that we may need to make this right for Elon Musk. That was for me the key phrase that gives me some comfort, because we still have some troubled times in Delaware. And this is my, like I said, I was hoping for this later in the year, because this appeal in the Tonetta case is going to drag all through 2025. But this early is really very encouraging.
Okay, first of all, thank you very much, Alexandra. You were the one that, lots of people are helping, but you were leading the charge, right? We had to bring this point up. If you, the judge in Delaware, is gonna, reverse what shareholders for a company has voted in twice, like over 70% plus, there's something really wrong about that. And so then we have to, make sure that companies in Delaware want to leave. Elon posted this yesterday. He said, any lawyer still recommending incorporation in Delaware at this point should be sued for malpractice, right? Because if you're there, you already have a president of Tesla, that the judge can reverse it. So this started to build steam. Thank you very much for all that work that you've done to kind of bring it to the forefront.
And let me please take this opportunity. I mean, I'm not by myself in all this. So the first group that we had was Kristen and Amy Stebbins helping me, K10 and Amy. So that was the initial phase where we were doing letters to the court, and we were very active in helping with the vote and making sure that. Then Amy became quiet because she did something very courageous, which is introduced a lawsuit as a Tesla shareholder in this whole. She was completely mistreated by this judge. We have not talked enough about that, but in her judgment of December, she just washed all these shareholders away, this judge. I mean, with disdain and with an arrogance for, it's not possible to ignore shareholders the way this judge did. And so that is, it's very brave. And if I'm correctly informed, again, don't hold me to that, but I think they're going to be part of the appeal as well. The appeal of the Tonetta case is going to start next month in March. There'll be hearings. There'll be a real procedure going through this appeal. So this timing of Matt Mayer coming out is really crucial. Now, people come to me and say, so what can he do? He is the governor. What can he do? Because that is really the point. He can't do much. So a chancellor is appointed, a chancellor or vice chancellor is appointed to the Chancery Court for 12 years. So when you get appointed, well, that's it. You've got it for 12 years. So I don't know. I haven't gone into the Delaware system whether her date when she became a vice chancellor counts for that. That would be 2018. So it would be to 2030. I mean, much too long anyway, but that's it. Yeah. Or whether the date she became a chancellor counts as the start of those 12 years. I don't know, but be it. Both are too late. And the second point is that while a chancellor appoints them, then they have to be confirmed by the Senate of Delaware with I think a 12-person vote or whatever. I don't recall exactly the details, and I didn't have the time this morning to read it again. But so there is a confirmation of it, and so they got confirmed, and then it's not in the hands of the governor anymore, right? So it's not as if the governor can now just say, okay, out, gone. I wish that would be the case, but that is not the case. So there are more or less two means of getting her leave. I try to be careful with my words. The one would be impeachment. Now, for impeachment, you really need proof of serious wrongdoing, and but so surprisingly enough, Friday, the person in charge of detecting corruption in both Chancery Court and Supreme Court was replaced with a new person. I posted about that. I had no clue what this was all about, but it sort of seems like an incredible coincidence that this just happened, right? So maybe that is an indicator that they may want to go the impeachment way. The second way, to me, seems, but I mean, I'm a woman and I'm always, on the defensive when it comes to things like that. So I may not be the warrior she is, but the second is her to resign. And I don't think that's impossible, right? I think she was very motivated in everything she's doing, but she just gives to me this holier than thou image of somebody who really believes in her mission. She is extremely procedural. Everything has to tick all the boxes the way she wants it. It has to align like that. Now, when you look in 2024 at a shareholder vote in 2018, of course, you could not predict what procedure she would like in 2024, right? And of course, the procedure she explains in 2024, you didn't adhere to that in 2018. How could you, right? When you do a shareholder vote for something so substantial like a pay package, you cannot in 2018 understand the rules that a judge who's not even in place at that moment may want, right? So the whole way of her arguing that I'm procedural. This is the way I want it, and you didn't do it like that in 2018. So we're gonna, call it quits, and you have to start all over again. It's just extremely procedural, extremely rigid. Rigid in a way that only certain types of professionals act. When you are very convinced you are right, then you try to impose something like that. It has nothing to do with real life. It has nothing to do with running a business. And so that's the first point. And the second point is when twice shareholders overwhelmingly tell you, this is what we want. We know it was expensive. We know the comma was not at a place you wanted in 2024. It should have been in 2018. We got all that. We've read it. We've talked about it. We've talked about it in 2018. We've talked about it at nausea in 2024. Yet we want it. Here we are, 72, 73, 74% of it. And then just say, oh, but Robin Denholm said that this and this and this and this. So I know I can't. And it was late because in January I said I wouldn't do it. So now in August, I'm not going to. It just sounds so freaking rigid that you wonder what the ultimate goal is. Now, it could be that the ultimate goal is that she believes that. Well, if she believes that, I think she's the type of person that would now resign, because that type of character, I'm not. You don't. Yeah,
she has an agenda. Yeah,
that's it. So so there we are. So it's not as if Matt Mayer can do something. Who can do something is that newly placed position on Friday. Maybe that's where they're going, right? That they want to show corruption. She will have a lot of pressure. I mean, now the thing is, so far I heard lots of people say, yeah, this is Biden's Delaware. Yeah, this is all corrupt and whatever. Delaware is still Democrat. Now you have a Democrat governor saying clearly this went too far. So this is not anymore Republicans against Democrat. This is a governor wanting his state to function and to calm down, and she is doing everything. And so I want you to pull up that slide I sent you this morning, because we're not done with her if she stays where she is at the moment. Exactly. So I've updated this. You've seen this a couple of times before. We have the Tonetta case going to appeal. That's going to be for November, December this year. We had this settlement case of the police and fire retirement system of the city of Detroit. Last time we spoke, we were waiting for that judgment. She now, oh, you didn't. This is not the new one, but it doesn't matter. I talk over it. So this was on the settlement of the $735 million. She had to decide on the attorney fees for that. She decided $175 million or $176 million. I don't recall the number exactly, which is far too much. Tesla wanted something around 50 million, 47, 48, something like that. So Tesla is appealing this one as well. So we have now two cases in the appeals court. We have the Tonetta case and we have the second one in it. But there are now at least three big ones still coming. The Wagner one, I'm not even sure it's going to be received, but the other one. So we have this Donald Ball, who is going after the fact that the June vote was not conforming to the vote quota, how it should have been. Now, I'm just leaving it there. It's too complicated to really get into it. She has that one to decide on. And then the one that she really is after, she bundled two cases, the Cleveland Bakers and Teamsters and the Employees Retirement System of Rhode Island. And there she wants to go for fiduciary breach of Elon. This is the most risky case of all. And if my sources are correct, she wants to open this case as soon as possible now in February, right? This was filed in June, just before we left for Texas, and nothing else could have been done after June 14th. So this was just filed in the last weeks. She regrouped those two, and those two. So the first one is about Elon allocating to XAI stuff that was dedicated to Tesla. Of course he did that. Of course it was, normal to do it. Nobody objects that, but there we go. The Cleveland Bakers and Teamsters Pension Fund that was not doable. And the Employees Retirement System of Rhode Island, same political corner than her, objected that how he sold Tesla shares when he bought Twitter, right? So both of them, you could just say, okay, common sense, just calm down. No, she is making a whole thing of this, and she wants to open that. So it's very interesting that Matt Mayer, only 2 weeks in office, is going so much on offense, because I think what they want her to do is give up on these cases, right? Because and there may be, some bargaining. You can stay if you do that, or what. I don't know what's happening there, but I can tell you it's a hot seat for her at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's the only thing we can do. So we still don't know what's going to happen, but just to catch up everybody, Delaware Governor is basically saying that we need to change. Companies are threatened to leave the state. Matt Mayer was just put in place 2 weeks ago, and then he, Elon, and thank you to Tesla Boomer Mama here, they're leading the charge to communicate to everybody that you should leave Delaware if the courts can, take over what shareholders want for a company. And that started to happen. Of course, it still is a top destination to incorporate. So here's the actual thing that he said. It's really important we get it right for Elon Musk or whoever the litigants are in Delaware courts. We're cognizant that there may be some things that need to change. We're going to work on them. Okay, so that's the key quote that he gave, that he's going to work on it. So what does that mean? Right? You kind of laid it out for us. Any company thinking about leaving, we're actively reaching out. We're talking to them. We're understanding what the issues are and understanding what ways we can do better. And for those entities that have already made the decision to leave, we're going to continue to work hard to earn their trust, hopefully to have them come back. So clearly this worked. I mean, it's like, look, you incorporate in Delaware because you think it's the most, everything's procedural. They have everything laid out and it's most trusted by lawyers. And that's worked for decades. Now, all of a sudden, this judge comes in and reverses what shareholders have voted for a company, not once, like twice. So that's the tricky part. And then you've shown that she's actually, if you combine all the work she's been doing for the other lawsuits against Tesla, there's an agenda here. It's very clear at this point that it wasn't just, that there's a real political or legal issue that she's trying to make sure was corrected. That's not the case at this point. So now you have the governor coming in. What can he do? And you kind of said, well, pressure. But this is the pressure that caused the governor to step up and change, what they're going to do. So maybe the pressure is big enough that something will improve for Tesla. Like, could they not? So no, they can't reverse any judgment she's made.
No. Well, that's going to be an appeal, right? That's what an appeals court is for.
Yeah.
Now, the appeals court in Delaware, if I recall it right, is 5 judges, 3 Democrat and 2 Republican. Or maybe it's 7, so it's 4 and 3. But it's a small group of judges. It's not a jury. It's the judges who will make up the verdict. And it is, in my view, there where we have, as of today, the best chances to win those 2 cases.
The appeal. How long will the appeal take?
So the Tonetta case should be November, December this year, and the appeal on the attorney's fees should be next year, January, February. So we're in the next 12 months knowing both of those, but it takes time, right? We're in a legal event. But what we've built up over the last couple of weeks, just so that you know, so I spend a lot of time looking in other cases because I also wanted to make sure people understand this is not just her and Elon, and it's bad enough, but she is very, very opinionated on a couple of other cases as well. There seems to be always the same law firms winning cases with her. I mean, I can't just combine the dots. It's too complex for me, but it is clear that it's her way or the highway, right? That is just it. And the key word in all that is procedure. And so you have to understand that lots of other states in the United States don't have a business court. Delaware has a business court since 1792, if I remember the right number. And they have really built up business law by cases, right? The same way a little bit it works in England. And so there was a reason why Delaware deserved all this trust. There was a reason why people would go there. Now people are going to Wyoming. People, lots of people have no clue where Wyoming is on the map, right? Let's not talk about whether it has business court or not. Texas is only now building up a business court because Tesla and SpaceX moved there. So lots of other states have to catch up with the history of Delaware and will still base their judgments on precedent from Delaware just because they don't have the precedent in their states in the same volume and in the same. But then comes a judge who doesn't have this business sense. And I don't want to say anything bad about upbringing, but she's a child of teachers. She has been always very academic. She's become a lawyer in derivative lawsuits, which is always very procedural. And she became a chancellor with that background. She comes from a super procedural background, not from something that is, wheeler, dealer, and entrepreneurs and real life. But it was a very formative way. And so what happened the last 3 years, because her judgments only arrived now, right? She started looking into the Tonetta case in 2018, and we heard of it in 2024. So all her action has always a couple of years of a delay to getting to us. So we will have much more of her judgments in the months and years to come, not only for Elon's companies, but for other companies as well. And she's, by the way, not alone. There's one vice chancellor, Travis Lester, who is in the same boat than her. They are like two peas in a pot. So the way this is, they are seeing law is that 200 years of we're a chancery court, we're business orientated, we want to understand shareholders, we want to understand founders, we want to make this right. And I'm not saying every judgment was perfect, but there was an understanding that you wanted to be part of the enterprise, you wanted to be part of exactly. And this now suddenly turned to something true formalistic.
Lawyers.
Enormous, exactly. And at the same time, lawyers became more paid. That's a second
huge amounts
direct consequence of this, right? Because now
Billions
suddenly it gets interesting because there was not the right comma on page 17, right? Now you can suddenly sue for crap like that, so the lawyers are happy. You will find a lot of lawyers going out there and protecting her because this has made them very, very rich over the last couple of years.
So, okay, let's go back to Elon. First of all, appreciate that because this is much bigger. This is so much bigger than just Tesla. But it's Tesla left. Now they've incorporated into Texas. What does this mean for Elon? If he doesn't get his pay package until next year, what is it delaying anything for Elon and what he's trying to do for Tesla's law?
No, the pay package was always axed to 2028. Remember, it was you had to stay 10 years until he could start.
He wasn't going to get money anyways until 2028.
Exactly. It's all options. It was all options. It's all pending at the moment. We have paid for those options, $2.3 billion between 2018 and 2023. So we have paid for them. It was part of the accounts of Tesla. If she prevails, if the appeals court tells us she was right, then these 2.3 billion first come back to us, but then we have to reinstate it because we want to reinstate it. How many times did we now say that we want it reinstated? But now it costs us about 60 billion. The same thing that cost us initially 2.3 billion would cost us to do the same thing.
Thanks for protecting the shareholders.
Exactly, being nice to shareholders. Crazy, absolutely crazy stuff. So that's the first case. So even though it could be canceled in the end, we can put it back, but it costs us a heck of a lot of money more, right? That's the base case. The second
60
case
billion is a lot. That's a significant amount. 2 billion, 4 billion, 5 billion. I don't care. 60 billion.
Right.
That impacts the company.
For him having the same result, but a worse tax situation, right? The thing that what's even worse about is it will cost 60 billion, but he will pay even more taxes on it because it will be the whole thing is just crazy. Anyway, so that's that part. And then so that would be it. I mean, I today for the first time, am hopeful that we will win an appeal, just because there's now so much political pressure on
So
the appeal.
if they win an appeal, which you said would be December, it could be December, summer next year, early next year, then what does that mean for Elon and Tesla?
Well, that just means he has this 2.3 billion package.
So everything is all that was just,
and that one is gone, but we still have the 4 other cases to go through.
So to win an appeal, to win the appeal for this big one, this pay package though, right? Because you were saying that there's these judges that need to vote on this appeal. And so if he puts the pressure on to the Supreme, hey, at least there's some way that that can make them rethink what decision they might make to do. Okay, so that's important.
I think she lost a lot of credibility. The other thing I hope too is that they manage in some elegant way, if they can't get rid of her. I'm sorry, I shouldn't speak like that. But so if she's not in one way or the other leaving, that she's giving up on the cases that are concerning Elon.
The other cases?
Yes, the other 4 that I just showed. I think that, I think that would send a clear signal. It would obviously be a real slap in the face to her, right? As a chancellor being dismissed of cases. But I mean, maybe that's an arbitrage, a deal they could do with her. Okay, you can stay chancellor, but you're not touching any Elon cases anymore. But I mean, it's not only Elon.
It's not something that the court could decide, or is it the governor? They can decide which lawsuits go to whom. Right?
I haven't seen how this works, and I'm not, familiar enough with the Delaware court system how this works. But that could be an elegant way of getting her off the ice, because at the moment, she's on the focus. It's Kathleen McCormick. Again, I'm telling you, there is a second there's Vice Chancellor Travis Lester, who's just as bad, but we're not concentrating on him because he doesn't have any of our cases. He has a couple of other cases which are horrendous as well. But he has the same issue. It's all about formalities. It's all about, you have to get into our box. You have to tick this box. You have to put this like that. If you didn't do it like that, well, that's it. $150 million penalty, right? It's just always going crazy. So the question is what is more effective? And I mean, obviously I would love for her to resign, but let's just put it out there. I doubt it. I think she's a little bit on the fragile side, so who knows? But I mean, one way of getting what we want is getting her off those cases. Those cases are ridiculous to start off with, but you will find again some little procedure that she invents that we didn't respect, right? That's just the way business works. Business is not all about procedure, and especially Elon's business is not all about procedures.
Okay. So the list of companies that are leaving Delaware, this comment by the governor, is that going to slow that down? So you mentioned at the beginning, a lot of it's a lot of work. So a lot of the things are moving. But what about the new folks who are saying, hey, this is still an issue?
He's buying goodwill here. He's buying goodwill here because, like I said, most likely there will be shareholder proposals to nearly all of the big companies saying in the next shareholder meetings between now and let's say June, because usually they are in the first 6 months of the year, where there will be a shareholder saying, look, the stuff happening in Delaware, we're incorporated in Delaware, are you considering leaving? And the company would today say, well, we'll have to study this. In that special committee study, they can now have this Business Insider article saying, look, he's going to do everything he can. So that gives them a little bit of goodwill in this procedure. And I think that's what he's after. Because, I mean, if you are a new governor, you come 2 weeks and you inherit this.
It could also be too late already. Everybody already knows this is a real threat to be in Delaware. Let's not here. So, okay. Well, thank you for doing that. I think, it's good news. At the end of the day, it's good news for Elon and Tesla. Elon was obviously, appreciative of this, but we don't know yet what this actually necessarily means. Can
I add one thing, please? Yeah. Can I add one thing? I want to call out specifically Professor Rob Anderson. He has been really great in helping us understand things that I didn't understand yet, and also publicizing he has a lot of connections in Delaware, people in Delaware that are unhappy, that were, giving him information, and he was courageous enough to put that stuff out very early, last 2 weeks. So please follow him, Prof. Rob Anderson. He's really a great account to follow, but he's been very courageous. It's not easy in this legal field to stand out and do something against one of your peers. And the second thing is the Leave Delaware account on X. This is a group of people that have been mobilizing now for months and months and months to discuss that companies are leaving Delaware. It's starting to happen, so they're getting more exposure, but they were right. So that's a good account to follow. So, it's not only us shareholders. There are different actors in this whole game, and it's really passionate to watch how it's all coming together.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alexandra. Appreciate the update and educating Tesla investors. Very, very important, obviously, for us. And it looks like that at least we have a little bit of a small win through years of doing this. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Alexandra. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Take care.